Good morning and welcome to Founders Metropolitan Community Church. We're really glad that you have decided to join us at the greatest church on earth. We hope that you will enjoy worship today at Founders. Now is a good time for you to get your bread and cup ready so that you can join us for communion, because we serve a communion that's open to everyone. Everyone is welcome at God's table. Service will begin shortly. Would you join me in our call to worship? Loving God, you are always present, always listening, always compassionate. Inspire us to be examples of justice and mercy.
May our lives honor those who we have loved and lost, the elders and the young, receiving our grief, O God, and share our pain.
Console your people, O God, and as we face disease, violence, poverty, prejudice, and pandemics, may we be a force for change.
These are the prayers of our hope, that those who have died are safe in your arms, that their beauty and brightness lives on in the world.
Now join us in our opening song. Amen. Would you pray with me? And if you can, just place your hands over your heart and repeat what Jane just sang. Holy Spirit, thou art welcome in this place. In this place. Thank you, Holy Spirit, because we feel your presence in this place, and we thank you because you are always present with us. We ask for your blessings. We ask for you to open our hearts to receive all that you have for us. We ask for you to minister to us and through us today. We also ask God that if there's one person that does not know you today, that they will know you before today is over. We ask in the name of Jesus our Christ and all that is holy. Amen. Amen. Well, welcome to Founders Metropolitan Community Church. We do want to say one more time, welcome. We welcome all of you who are joining us for the first time, whether you're first time in the room with us or first time online. We say welcome again, and we're so glad that you are here, and we hope that you will love it so much that you will want to be back every time we have worship. We also want to say welcome to all of our online guests, because we know that you have been faithful through this whole pandemic, and some of you even before the pandemic were joining us online. We know that we have people watching from other countries, other states, other cities, and then right here in Los Angeles, and we just want to say welcome. We are so thankful for your faithfulness. And I will tell you, and last week someone mentioned how the in-house crew is so important. And we just want to say thank you to the crew that has been faithful through this whole pandemic. There have been many Sundays when there were like 8 of us in the building, making it seem like there were thousands. And I just want to say thank you to the in-house crew for their faithfulness in making it. Thank you. Give them a hand. And I believe Jane's going to join me on stage, and we'll have a few announcements. I think we have a lot of announcements, so hold your hat.
Excited.
I know, lots of going on. I've been missing you on stage with me. I'm so glad you're here. Man, it's so good to hear those fingers on that keyboard this morning.
I agree.
We want to say this Sunday is the Dia de los Muertos. And some say Halloween, All Hallows Eve. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But you know that our Spanish-speaking service has put our ofrendas, altars.
Ofrenda is so beautiful.
And this is a picture of last year. You have to wait until the pictures that'll be posted shortly today.
Of this year, which are
this year, it's even, I mean, they have spread it all the way across the whole front of the church. It's really beautiful. They've done an amazing job. And already people in the community are coming by.
Yes, I'm so grateful because, we did this at Hollywood Forever, right? We put an ofrenda up every year, and because of COVID, we couldn't, and we've made a way. Praise God, we've made a way for us to celebrate our ancestors and stuff.
And
so I love this. Yeah.
Our community, people are coming by and just
people
thrilled.
are walking by and
stopping. It's like, oh, wow, this is amazing. It's beautiful.
So appreciate everybody who worked long hours into the night last night and early this morning to have this ofrenda for us, and they're still here.
They're out there monitoring to speak to people and witness to people that stop by and ask questions. So,
look, next week it's fall back.
Uh-oh.
We get an extra hour. That makes me happy. As a teacher, an extra hour. So remember, next weekend we fall back, all right? So plan your church experience around that.
Yes, of course, if they don't, they'll just show up at church an hour early.
That's right. And we can just do a hymn sing for an hour.
There are a few people that maybe we should let them not know that.
Maybe.
Okay, just teasing. Moving along.
Amen.
We want to let you know that on the 20th of November, we are going to have an in-house and online version of something called Focusing Our Vision. If you were at the congregational meeting last Sunday, you know that there's some things we need to talk about. Where are we going? What are we doing? What is our vision for the future? What is it like for the next 6 months even? What is it like for the next year, for the next 5 years? Where do we see our church, our congregation? That's what I'm talking about. Where do we see our congregation a year from now and 5 years from now? Reverend Steve Swafford will be teaching that, leading that, facilitating that. I will get more information out in this week's e-news, so make sure you're reading the e-news. So you'll have the link online as well as know the time. It's probably going to be 11 or 12 o'clock on into...
A couple of hours. But
it's going to be like 4 or 5 hours probably.
Amazing. He's amazing to guide us into our vision.
Oh, yes. Yes, it's exciting.
I'm excited about that for sure. Oh, look. Is that Miss Betty?
It is.
No.
With her
You can
picture.
send your... Hello,
That's right.
Miss Betty. There she is with her... with her fall picture, and we want to invite you to continue to send pictures in all throughout the year. Just typical, holiday, traditional types of pictures. We really use them for that greeting, for our welcome and greeting. So the ones who are not in the house, the ones that are online, that we can connect as well. So it's super important. So make a point of sending your pictures into revkeith@mccla.org.
That's right. Last week, we took in a new member, and because our PowerPoint wasn't working at the moment... Frank Proudfoot. Yes, this is our newest member of Founders MCC, so we just want to say welcome to Frank.
Welcome, Frank. Welcome. Love it. Oh, and there's Pastor Wayne Lindsay.
And you know why his picture's up there?
No, I don't.
He didn't know his picture was going to be up there.
Okay.
You know
Hi,
why?
Reverend Wayne. I know he's watching.
He's watching. He's always watching. Just so you know, Reverend Wayne's birthday, he's one of our staff pastors, and we just want to say, volunteer staff pastors, and we want to say his birthday is coming this coming Wednesday.
25th birthday coming this week. We're so excited.
Yes, he looks good for 25.
I love you, Wayne.
Yes. We love you. Happy birthday, Padre.
Happy birthday, Wayne. All right, so remember when you come in to get your stickers, the red is no hugs, the yellow is elbows are okay, the option, right? And then the green is okay to hug. So make sure when you come in you have those stickers for us so that we know how to connect with you.
Also know that vaccinations, we're still encouraging you to get your vaccinations, and hopefully this week we'll even have ages 5 years old up to be able to get it.
I'm happy about that right now.
Yes, I know. As a school teacher, I know that you are very happy about that. I know a lot of parents that are very happy about that, by the way, and some of our own parents here in the congregation that have been not being here because they have a child under that age at home and they couldn't feel free to come. And so now they'll get the vaccination and be able to be with us in worship. It'll be so exciting.
Yep, and some people are doing boosters now.
Boosters, don't forget your boosters. If it's time for you to get your boosters, especially our church, our community, make sure that we are doing that. And also, I want to remind you that if you are coming to the building, you have to have the vaccination to worship inside the sanctuary. We still have the courtyards. We have people that can worship outside in the courtyard and in the hunter room area out there and watching a monitor. But I also need to remind you, because some people we keep forgetting as things change. Some things still haven't quite changed. So when we're up here and like Jane said, well, sing, notice she said sing if you're online.
Sing if you're at home.
If you're at home.
That's what I said.
Somewhere else.
Only sing if you're at home.
We still can't
make
do it.
a joyful noise inside of your body.
Yes, we still can't do it here
That's right.
in the sanctuary.
Last week I was here, people were clapping along and doing sort of outward things, which, do not involve
worship,
spit.
Honey, you can still worship.
You can still,
worship,
absolutely.
Worship. We want you to worship. We don't want to hinder your worship at the same time.
We want you to be safe.
We want you to be safe. That's right. So just a reminder.
Super important.
Now it comes time for us to pass the peace to one another. If you're in the building, I invite you to just blow a kiss to everybody in the room without getting up and roaming around. If you're at home, we want you to check in your attendance, say hello, and pass the peace online. Check in your attendance.
This morning's reading is taken from Hebrews, chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, and this will be from the New International Version. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Hear what the Spirit says today. Thanks be to God. Amen.
We have a special slideshow for you this morning to remember the Day of the Dead.
Recuérdame, hoy me tengo que ir, mi amor, recuérdame. No llores, por favor, te llevo en mi corazón y cerca me tendrás. A solas yo te cantaré, soñando en regresar. Recuérdame, aunque tenga que emigrar, recuérdame. Si mi guitarra oyes llorar, ella con su triste canto te acompañará. Hasta que en mis brazos estés, recuérdame.
Recuérdame. Though I have to say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me. Though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, know that I am with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me.
cantaré soñando en regresar. Recuérdame, aunque tenga que emigrar, recuérdame. Si mi guitarra hoy es llorar, ella con su triste canto te acompañará hasta que en mis brazos estés. Recuérdame.
Say goodbye, remember me, and don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me. Though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, know that I am with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me.
Amen. A holy moment indeed. Amen. I want to say thank you to Elder Larry Rodriguez and our creative worship team for making that video happen. And thank you for sending in, excuse me, a little choked up, for sending in the pictures that we saw, and for the memories of those people who may have left us in body, but certainly are present with us in this place. You know, there's a reason we have that ofrenda outside today, that altar. It's an altar. An altar. Think of that, where we have the pictures, and it's a time of remembering. I love this part of Mexican in particular, but Hispanic culture, that this day brings, you know, the 31st through the 2nd, the 31st of October through November 2nd, today being All Hallows Eve, or as many Americans say, Halloween, and then tomorrow being All Saints Day, and Tuesday being All Souls Day. And in the tradition, though, while we are a little broken up at the moment and teary-eyed, and that's okay, it's not just about the sadness of our loss. This year comes along, this particular day comes along so that we can remember the joys that those people brought to us, the smiles they brought to us. It's a time of sharing stories about them, and I guarantee you, we can share some stories about some of those people. And I guarantee you that there's some things that I could tell you that you don't know, and there's some things you could tell me that I don't know about several of these people on the video. And all of those, because, you know, that wasn't the end. That wasn't everybody. That was just the ones that sent in pictures. But I bet that it brought up lots of other people to your mind. It brought people that you've lost to your spirit and touched you deep inside, and it was a reminder. And I love this part of the tradition, that it's not just about that, it's about giving gifts to each other. It's about dressing up and putting on paint and giving little candies to the kids and to one another, and also telling stories. And I said telling stories, sometimes pretty irreverent stories, so that it's joyful, so that it brings a smile, so that it's not just a day of sadness. The joy, it's a time that we remember those who have gone on before us and share the specialness. It's bright, it's vibrant, and the music. And as you came in, the flowers, didn't you love the marigolds everywhere? It's an Aztec tradition of the flowers, just beautiful. And we sometimes think of these people who have gone on before us as, how many of you have used this term? Well, when someone passes away, now we have another angel watching over us. Anybody use that term before? I've used that term before too. And then I had to really think about that. Because what can they actually see? Because, you know, that can be a good thing, and that can be a bad thing. You know, if they can be my angel, does that mean they see everything that's going on and they hear everything that's happening? While I was home on vacation in North Carolina, as I always do, I find some time to go to my parents' graves. They're buried right beside of each other. And I always stand there and talk to them. And I usually will end up saying, Lord, I don't know if they can hear me or not, but I know you can hear me, God, so you'll make sure they get the message if they're not listening right this minute, or if they can't hear me. And I almost always remember to say this at the end of my visit with their graves. I tell them all the happy things that have happened since I was there last. I share my sadness for anything, my losses. If I have a new dog, like when I got Fairfax, I took him with me and I introduced him and told him who they were, and that he didn't get to meet them, but who knows what animals can see. Maybe he sees them and I can't. Maybe he senses their spirit and knows. But I also end with this. I pray and thank them for giving me life, and thank them for the wisdom that both of them gave me. And I realize everybody didn't have this, so this may not work with you. I'm just saying what it worked with me. I had wonderful parents. Both of them were wonderful, wonderful parents. Full of God, full of the Holy Spirit, full of love for God and the church, and adored me. And, you know, it helps when they adore you as their child, right? They adored me as their child. But I always end with this. I hope that I've made you proud. I hope that I've made you proud with the way I've lived my life. Even though I know there are things in my life you disagreed with at the time, and you kind of came around later, and maybe not everything we agreed on in theology and church and all of that, but the love that was unconditional was always there and is still there. And I really do hope that I'm still making you proud, and that I continue to make you proud the rest of my days. It's nice to think of them sometimes watching over me in the spirit world. But you know, there are just some things I just soon they not notice. I mean, I really don't need them with me in the shower. I just really don't. I don't need them in the bathroom with me for any reason, generally speaking. For any reason. And I don't want them in my bedroom either. some things that I didn't need to see with them as my parents, some things they don't need to see as me as their son. But beyond that, I also don't really want them to see the mistakes I've made and the poor choices I've made in life at times. I remember my daddy's brother telling me one time, he said, son, this is the Melvin Mozingo wisdom. He said, son, in life you're going to make some good decisions and some bad decisions. And when you make the good decisions, really rejoice that you made some good decisions. Because there are going to be other times you make some really bad decisions that may cost you something. And you just have to live with it. You just have to live with it. And that was a really good, that's the only advice he really ever gave me, but I thank him for it because it has stuck all this time. So then what does the writer of Hebrews mean today when he says, we have a cloud of witnesses? A cloud of witnesses. Let me go back and read that a little bit for you. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. That sounds pretty much like an angel watching over me. That sounds like a group of people watching everything that's happening. I don't know. I don't know if that cloud of witnesses too. Cloud of witnesses can see and hear everything that's going on and understand everything that's happening in our lives. But then what does the writer of Hebrews mean? Can these folks witness everything 100% of the time? The good things, the bad things, the ugly things? I'm not really sure anybody knows the answer to that question. I don't know the answer. I can surmise some things, and I will tell you it's always made me very comfortable and very uncomfortable, that scripture, having the cloud of witnesses, because we don't know what they can and can't see. So it's a comfort to know they're there when I want them to be there and I can speak and hope that they hear me. It's another thing when there are things I just assume they not see and hear and wonder about. I don't know what the truth is. But I studied this week and I was looking up and I found one commentator, and I wish I could tell you his name. The website didn't have his name. I don't know who it was. I couldn't even figure out the website, quite frankly, but I found the answer that resonated in my spirit, and if you don't mind, even though this anonymous person wrote it, I wanted to capture it. And I'll quote him. So whoever you are, I'm not trying to steal your work. I just want to thank you for ministering to me. He says this, so who are the cloud of witnesses, and how is it that they surround us? To understand this, we need to look at the previous chapter as evidenced by the word therefore, beginning chapter 12 of Hebrews. Well, there's the start, because when the first word is therefore, then you kind of have to look back to see, well, wait a minute, what just happened? And for those of you that are not familiar, Hebrews chapter 11 is the faith chapter. I mean, that's the one, by faith Abraham did this, by faith Sarah did this, by faith Enoch did this, by faith Moses. I mean, it's like tells all the super saints of old. Notice I called them super saints. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Super saints, all the Bible characters of old, by faith, this person did this great thing. By faith, this person did this great thing. By faith, this person did this great thing. So our commentator says, we must look back at that, and it says, oh, I scrolled up too far, sorry. To understand this, we need to look at the previous chapter, the faith chapter, as evidenced by the word therefore, beginning chapter 12. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and the rest of the Old Testament believers looked forward in faith. They looked forward in faith to the coming of the Messiah. The author of Hebrews illustrates this eloquently in chapter 11 and then ends the chapter by telling us that the ancestors had faith to guide and direct them. They had faith to guide and direct them. But God had something better planned. Then the writer of Hebrews begins chapter 11 with a reference to these faithful men and women who paved the way for us. What the Old Testament believers looked forward to in faith, the Messiah, we look back. They looked forward, we're looking back, having seen the fulfillment of the prophecies concerning Jesus' first coming. We are surrounded by the saints of the past in a unique way. Oh, this is good to me. In a unique way. Okay, what is it? It's not that the faithful who have gone before us are spectators to the race we run. They're not just looking at the race we're running, in other words. Rather, it is a figurative representation and means that we ought to act as if they were in sight and cheering us on to the same victory in the life of faith that they obtained. Whew, that's deep. That's pretty good stuff right there. They're not just spectators looking at us go to the restroom. They're not just looking at all of the things that we make. They are cheerleaders on our journey, cheering us on to our race and representing. He says, these are those whose past lives of faith encourage others to live that way too. In other words, they had all of this faith, and now they're encouraging us to live out our race. They ran their race already. It's gone. The picture's up here. Those people are people of faith that have run their race. Their race is over. But their lives are examples of us running our race, and their lives are the cheerleaders to help us know that we too can run our race. That the cloud is referred to as great indicates that millions of believers have gone before us, each bearing witness to the life of faith we now live. They are cheerleaders. They are the ones who have lived before us and cheering us on as we move through our own journeys. Here's the thing. I said that they were super saints. I mentioned all the super saints. And yet we look at these people on the board and we say, well, they were saints. Were they super saints? Some of them maybe. Some of them maybe not. The truth of the matter is, whether it was on our video, whether in our hearts of those we know, or whether it was the people in chapter 11 of Hebrews, they were real people walking through real life with other real people, with real problems, with real choices that sometimes they made good and sometimes they made bad. They were real. They weren't super. They were just real. They were just like us. They were like congregants sitting around. If you look around, each one of us could be in chapter 11 of Hebrews. All those people on the screen a while ago could be in chapter 11 of Hebrews. They are people that by faith, whatever that faith was, by faith, they ran their race and they made it. And we too are running our race. Just like us, they found their own way. Isn't that a comfort to you? I mean, it's a comfort to me. And isn't it a comfort to believe that we too will become part of that same cloud of witnesses when our time comes to cross over? But what do we do in the meantime? What do we do in the meantime? Because it's not time to cross over just yet. It's not time to be gone, because if it was, we'd be gone. We're here. Well, he didn't leave us blank. He didn't leave it a blank. He told us what we could do. The writer of Hebrews gives us a couple of things that we can do to prepare for that. Number one, he said, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that easily entangles. In other words, whatever is in front of you that is an obstacle to you living out your faith, get rid of it. Just stop. I was thinking about a couple this morning on my way to church that live in Baton Rouge, and a wonderful couple. They've been long-term together, and they've been through some bumps in the road in their relationship. There have been a couple of times through the many years that I have known them that occasionally it looked like they were not going to make it as a couple, that maybe they were rethinking whether they should be. And one of them decided they wanted to go do this kind of thing, and the other one wanted to go over here and do this kind of thing, and they weren't on the same page anymore. So maybe it was time to just go their separate ways. And one of them reached out to me in a pastoral way, and I reminded him of what he had told me and what the other one had told me many, many years ago when I first met them. And they both told me separately, not together, not in the presence of the other person, but they both told me that the secret to their relationship was that when they first got together and they first made this, I don't mean the first date, so don't hear that. I mean, once they had been together a while and learned each other and decided to make a commitment to each other, they said, we decided we were going to have a lifelong commitment. That no matter what came our way, no matter what problems came our way, we were going to figure a way out. We were going to figure a way, not out, through it. We were going to figure a way through it. We are together for life. And I reminded both of them on that occasion when they called me. And I said, you've both told me this. Now you just have to go back and decide if you meant it. I realize times have changed. I realize things have changed. You've matured, you've grown, and sometimes the best thing to do is go your separate ways. That's okay. Just don't diss each other in the process. Just don't throw away all of those years and say they weren't worth anything. They were valuable, whether you stay together or not stay together. And I was thinking about how they made a lifelong choice. But it was their choice of faith to be faithful to each other's feelings. And they're still together today. And they work through it every single time there's been a bump in the road. But it's because one of them or both of them at those times where there were bumps in the road had to make a choice to drop whatever was hindering them. Whatever was hindering them from moving in sync again, they had to be willing to let go of it. Throw off everything that hinders you, the writer of Hebrews says. Whatever is hindering you from living out your faith, get rid of it. It's not always easy. I'm not telling you it's easy. It's not always easy to get rid of whatever's hindering you. I mean, sometimes what's hindering me from losing the 10 COVID pounds that I'd like to lose is that piece of pie or piece of cake that I really want, and I have to decide which one, because it can't be both. Whatever is hindering us, we have to let go of. Number 2, he says, let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. But you see, you don't have to do that by yourself. You don't have to do that by yourself. Even if you're alone, even if you're single, you don't have to do that by yourself. Fixing our eyes on Jesus. Fixing our eyes on Jesus. Who is Jesus? The pioneer and perfecter of our faith. The pioneer of our faith. The perfecter of our faith. Perfecter, that means it ain't perfect yet. He keeps perfecting it for us. In other words, this is a process. We're not going to get it all at one time. It's a matter of maturing in our relationship. It's a matter of running that race and being farther down the road today than we were yesterday. We got to keep on running. But if we keep our eyes fixed on the one, on Jesus, on the teachings of Jesus, the real Jesus. I'm not talking about the one that's been captive somewhere else. I'm talking about the real justice-seeking, let's get down to truth and be transparent Jesus. That's the one I'm talking about. I don't need a hijacked Jesus that's just all spirit and woo and everything's wonderful. I want the real one that walked the earth like we walked, who might have been in chapter 11 of Hebrews, but was a real person with real problems that made some real choices. And they weren't always the best choices, or at least they didn't always have the best outcomes. Remember, he got ran out of the temple. They about knocked him off a cliff, killing him. And eventually they hung him on a cross. That means this life, this race is a process. It's one in which we get to grow. And while it may not be perfect right now, it will keep getting more and more and more perfect as we go. It's time for us to grow. It's time for us to mature. And we can endure it. We can, because we've been given the formula. Hebrews can add our names to chapter 11 too. Keep hanging on, saints. Keep hanging on. Listen for those cheerleaders that are in the cloud of witnesses. Listen for them. They're yelling encouraging words to all of us with the lives that they already lived and gave, and the lessons of life that they taught us and left us with. Keep running this race of life, growing and maturing in the faith, so that one day too, when it's our time, we can become a part of that cloud of witnesses. Amen.
Thank you, God. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. Thank you, God. Oh, I just want to thank you for all you have done for me. Sing it in your heart. Thank you, God. Oh, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. Thank you, God. Yes, I just want to thank you for all you have done for me.
Amen. Please take this moment to gather your bread and juice or other elements so that you can celebrate communion with us. Today, we consider the COVID candle in memory of the nearly 5 million souls who have perished from coronavirus. From their place among our cloud of witnesses, may they coach us with the wisdom to break through this pandemic, helping us to sort through the true and the false, the ignorance and the insight, the hate and the love, the priceless and the cheap. May their healing into death encourage us to embrace life, which is everlasting. Let us pray together. Glorious God, we join in celebration with the great cloud of witnesses, the generations before and the generations to come, and all the earth and the cosmos, at the festival of love that is the blessed cycle of life and death. We take our places to sing the song of your salvation. When the houses of our hearts are haunted by past transgressions, comfort us. When fear masks our faith, reassure us. When our dreams become nightmares, turn on the lights. Loving God, hold us in the circle of your care. Guide us through the grief and gladness. Amplify our witness. And let us live as peacemakers until in peace we rest. Amen. Friends, here at Founders MCC and MCCs around the world, we celebrate an open communion. That means you don't have to be a member of this church or any church to sit at the table of God. This table extends to wherever you are. Our many tables and this table now become one table. One table where no one is excluded. As part of our priesthood of all believers, everyone gathered around this table, made of our many tables, is invited to join us in the join us as celebrants in the feast of our God. On the night Jesus was betrayed, and he measured the distance from life to death and back again, he marked the miles with a piece of bread. And so we mark the miles of our own journeys as we lift our bread and bless it and break it together, saying with Jesus, "This is my body broken for you. To walk bravely in spirit and in flesh, we do this." God, consecrate this bread that in our lives the dead live on. Thank you for making us Christ's body. Let us consume. At the end of his last meal, Jesus crossed the veil around a sacred cup. He blessed it and shared it with his friends, his ancestors, and us. And so we cross the mysterious boundary to raise our cups with Jesus. And we bless them, saying with him, "This is my blood flowing through you to bring the before and the after together." We do this. God, consecrate our cups as a libation to your cloud of witnesses. Thank you for making us your witnesses on earth. Let us consume. God, we are filled in body, heart, and soul. Thank you for the joy alive at this table. Thank you for the bond that lasts even when the meal is over. Amen.
We are worthy. We are worthy. Oh, we are worthy, oh God, to receive glory, glory and power, glory and power.
Amen. We do want to say thank you for being with us in worship today. We hope that you've enjoyed our time together so far. We do have a couple of other things to mention before we leave. For now, we just say thank you for being here, and join us, if you're online, join us in the next song. Those of you in the sanctuary, sing along in your hearts.
Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the glory of our God rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the joyful noise we bring rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the songs of our God, let them rise among us. Let the joyful noise we bring rise among us. Let it rise. Let the songs of our God, let them rise among us. Let the songs of our God rise among us. Let the joyful noise we bring rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Amen.
Good morning.
Here and to share in the body of Christ with those online. I am Kim Dinesh. I'm the board member on duty, but I'd be here whether I was on duty or not. It is the time in our service when we receive your tithes and offering. And I wanted to read something, as I'm prone to do up here. We understand that the last 18 months have created a great deal of stress, personal stress and financial stress. But I was reading a devotional from Reverend Craig Groeschel of Life Church, and it was a reminder about seeking first the kingdom of God in all things, and including our finances. That seeking God first is not all about the tithe, although it is a big part of it, but it's about being prayerful, being close to God, and genuinely asking them, God, how would you have me manage the resources you entrust to my care? It's also about sincerely seeking their will and their direction. When we put them first, we're going to see some of the most incredible benefits in our lives. One of the benefits is that we experience God's blessings. Malachi 3 teaches us that when we bring our first and best to God, they will bless the rest. It teaches that God can do more with our 90% than we can do with 100%. Blessings don't mean always financial or material, but you'll experience their blessings when you put God first in your life through the tithe. With that on our hearts and minds, we will collect your offerings and tithes. We are still, today is the last day of the month, to do the 53 for 53. So whether it's 53 cents, $5.30, $53, $530, and 5,300. Let's speak the blessing. It is in recognition of our 53 years in this congregation. So, and then you can also give on our website. We have the green bar on our homepage. And then also you can text 77977. You'll receive a text reply back with a link to our PushPay app. So thank you.
Amen. As we get ready to dismiss, we will be providing the benediction momentarily. I do want to say this before we leave. Kim was talking about giving and about offerings and how we do that. Some of you have received by either email or text messages that were signed Pastor Keith Mazingo, and they were not from me. Just so that you know, I don't know where where it's going through, but it's asking for gift cards for our sick and shut-ins and that kind of thing. It sounds really legitimate, but I will never do that without making a big announcement about it up front or talking to you in person. I would never just send you a text message and say, hey, will you pick up $100 gift cards or whatever, and please ignore those. Or if you get that and you're wondering, did Pastor Keith really send this to me? Call me and ask. Don't send me a message. Call me so you can hear my actual Southern twang voice. Okay? Make sure, because we don't want you giving your money unnecessarily to scammers. Who knows? Maybe they need it. We don't know. But we do know where there are needs. So please make sure that you do that. And I did want to say that publicly. I put it on my Facebook account, but not everybody's on Facebook. So just please make sure that you're not falling for scammers. And it's going to be worse. I mean, it's just going to continue to get worse. This is not just me. I've seen some other ministers, even in our denomination, that are having the same issue because somehow they get through to all of our list and they start, to church members. And the church member says, well, if Pastor asked me to do that, of course, I would do my best to make that happen. I will ask you in person, or it'll be something that we're all doing as a congregation and everybody knows. So don't just do it without checking first. Just want to say that out loud. Anyway, we are glad that you joined us in worship today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you who have started coming back in the building. We have a couple of folks that hadn't been back yet until today, and it's so good to see. Every time somebody new comes in, I'm like, yay! It feels like I haven't seen you in 2 years. Oh, I haven't. So we're glad that you're here. Would you pray with me? And by the way, if you have time today, if you're joining us online, if you have time today, you're close by, please drive by at least and see the ofrendas out on the front of the church. It is just gorgeous. It's just amazing. And you'll see some of our folks out there to greet you. Would you pray with me? God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the memories of these who have gone on before us. Thank you for the cloud of witnesses that are there who have not here to be spectators on our current lives and intrude into our personal business and our personal space, but have been witnesses with their lives, with their very lives. They ran the race and they set the example that we can set for others, and we can run this race, run our own race. Help us to do that, looking at you, Jesus, as the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Bless us as we go about our duties this week. Bless us as we minister every single day to someone. And bless us as we allow our hearts to be blessed as well. We ask in the name of Jesus our Christ and all that is holy. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful week.